So, Paige Bueckers' debut, man. It wasn't that good, not gonna lie, not that good.
For each other, and that's our connection. And we're so connected that way, and that doesn't mean it's great all the time. We have hard conversations, we have tears, we have disagreements. That's actually normal in a relationship, isn't it? Like, it's normal to have disagreements. It's normal to be frustrated with each other. It's normal. Like, that's a part of it. Conflict's a part of it. And so we work through it together, and we're willing to sit in.
So Caitlin Clark just walked back into Team USA camp after spending 5 months completely away from competitive basketball. And what went down next immediately changed everything anyone was thinking. Following a season packed with injuries that had people genuinely questioning whether she could ever get back to where she was, Clark stepped on that court and wiped away every single doubt within moments. This wasn't some gradual comeback. This wasn't working through the cobwebs. This was pure dominance. And right in the middle of all that dominance, Paige Bueckers quietly shifted from being the main storyline to just another name in the background of Clark's return story. But before we dive into what actually happened, here's something that matters way more now than it did before. Who do you think deserves a spot on that final Team USA roster heading into Leave your thoughts down below, because after witnessing what Clark just delivered, a whole lot of predictions are about to get flipped upside down. When Coach Kara Lawson talked about her first practice, she kept it pretty straightforward on the surface. Said Clark looked solid on both sides of the ball. But that simple comment doesn't even begin to capture what really went down. Clark didn't just look solid, she completely owned that entire She set the rhythm, pulled defenses out to ranges that had coaches scrambling to figure out new coverage, and turned every single drill into her personal showcase. Players who showed up thinking they were competing for roster spots suddenly realized they were just trying to survive. Sue Bird, who's now running things for USA Basketball, watched Clark relentlessly push pace, knock down deep shots like they were layups, and immediately click back into that rhythm with Aaliyah Boston. Everything looked effortless. Everything looked meant to, and the message came through crystal clear. This partnership isn't just theory anymore. It's real, and it's absolutely lethal. After dealing with months of physical problems, Clark didn't just prove her body was right. She proved she'd gotten better, more focused, more determined, more purposeful in everything she did. This wasn't about getting back to where she was. This was a reminder that last season's setbacks were just a temporary stop. Nothing more. Caitlin Clark isn't just healthy again. She's setting herself up to carry Team USA straight to gold in
Clark is going against Paige and Dejanay. ESPN today, when they were talking about Paige, one of them says, I think Paige will be a good player this year, but I'm not expecting a Caitlin-like impact, and that's an unfair bar to set. Dallas Wings using the promo poster of Paige.
Let's back up here, because understanding what came before changes the whole picture. Throughout her rookie season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark didn't just play well. She completely destroyed every record anyone cared about. She demolished rookie scoring marks. Within 1 year, triple-doubles stopped being special. Those impossible range threes became just another Tuesday. Defenders weren't just struggling to keep up. They were questioning everything they thought they knew about basketball. In one single season, Clark didn't adjust to professional basketball. She forced professional basketball to adjust to her. Then year 2 arrived and everything completely fell apart. One injury turned into 2, then 3, then a whole cascade of problems, until all that momentum just vanished. Clark broke it down perfectly. When she explained it was never about one specific problem. She'd start feeling better for a little while. Then new issues would pop up and pile on top of everything else. The whole cycle just kept repeating. What happened next was absolutely shocking. Only 13 games the entire season. 13. After a rookie campaign that completely rewrote what people thought was possible, the basketball world started having real conversations. Was her body built for this kind of punishment? Would these injuries just keep coming? Was that incredible first year actually the exception instead of the rule? When Clark finally showed up to Team USA camp, competitive basketball had been out of her life for almost 5 full months. 5 months away from the sport that turned her into a household name, and everything that happened next made that time away impossible to overlook.
Every single point being scored or assisted by Caitlin Clark in a 4.5 minute spell to make a game, to go from down 5 to up 13. Like that, well, basically it was down 15 to up 10 against Phoenix Mercury last year, where every single basket other than one was either scored or assisted by Caitlin Clark in what was the craziest game of her career. Where it's funny, if you look back on that game, I think she had 15 points and 13 assists, and on 4 of 15 shooting. And people were just like, oh, this was terrible.
The pressure couldn't have been more intense. This wasn't some casual pickup game or a relaxed summer workout. This was Caitlin Clark's first real tryout for the 2026 World Cup squad, plus the 2028 Olympic roster in Los Angeles. Every single play carried weight. Every move was getting analyzed. Coaches, scouts, and cameras were focused on her from the second she walked through those doors. The question everyone was thinking was straightforward, but massive. After months on the sideline, could she still be that same player? Clark was honest about feeling nervous. Walking into camp felt like stepping into something huge, but those nerves didn't stick around long. She talked about how the moment she got her hands on the basketball during warm-ups, everything just clicked back into place. The comfort came flooding back immediately, and once actual practice began, comfortable doesn't even come close to describing what everyone witnessed. Clark announced she was completely healthy, and then proved it on every single possession. Her shot had that perfect sound when it went through the net, that noise fans recognize instantly. Her passes showed up exactly when and where they needed to, like she could see plays developing before anyone else even knew what was happening. Her court awareness looked cleaner and more decisive than it had ever been, even before the injury problems started. But most importantly, that explosive first step was completely back. People who watch this game for a living noticed it right away. That burst of speed, the ability to turn the corner and attack downhill had been missing throughout her injury-filled second season. At Team USA camp, it returned with full force. She attacked handoffs with real intent, left defenders behind, and created absolute chaos around the basket. There was this one sequence on the second day that told the whole story. Clark caught a handoff from Aaliyah Boston, turned the corner at maximum speed, and delivered a perfectly timed pass to Jackie Young cutting toward the rim. The shot didn't go in, but that didn't matter at all. The pass was absolutely perfect. The message was completely clear. Clark was playing with pure joy again. She couldn't stop smiling. She said later that her only focus was enjoying herself, and you could see it in everything she did. Her energy, her confidence, and her presence completely transformed the atmosphere of that entire camp. Once everyone realized she was truly back to full health, everything shifted.
Needs it. That's another level of facilitating. That's why we say, man, Caitlin Clark is the top guard, man. All right, y'all start the conversation in the chat, but I'm just saying, Chelsea Gray is a very entertaining passer. All right, very entertaining. Sometimes her flashiness kind of make her throw the ball away and things of that nature, but Caitlin Clark knows how to get that thing in tough spots. All right, get it in tough spots and get her teammates open, get it to where the teammate can catch the ball and just pull it in a comfortable style. All that is a part of facilitating, man. All right, so
now here's the part that really got everyone in that gym talking. The obvious chemistry developing between Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. There was this moment during practice that made everyone stop what they were doing, including Sue Bird and the entire coaching staff. Clark saw Boston cutting toward the basket and delivered a pass that seemed almost physically impossible. It curved around defenders, got there at the perfect moment, and hit Boston exactly where she needed it. Boston scored and started grinning. Clark grinned right back. Right then, it became completely obvious. This wasn't luck or a fluke. This was genuine, championship-level connection. Team chemistry at the national level usually needs weeks or even months to develop properly. Players have to figure out spacing, get the timing down, and learn each other's instincts. Guards typically need time to learn how to feed big players in tight spaces or get the ball there at exactly the right speed. But Clark and Boston completely skipped that entire learning process. Their season together in Indiana had already created this shared understanding. They knew each other's patterns, preferred angles, and natural rhythm. You could see it on every play. Clark would grab a defensive rebound and immediately push forward. Head up, already looking for Boston sprinting down the court. Boston would establish position in the post, knowing the ball was coming before help defense could even react. And it always did, threading through gaps that most players wouldn't even notice existed. The accuracy was incredible. The trust was absolute. One analyst captured it perfectly. Clark understands exactly when to be aggressive and when to set up teammates. That kind of feel for the game is extremely rare. And even when her shots aren't falling, defenders still can't ignore her. Her shooting range pulls extra attention toward her. That pressure opens up space everywhere else. All of a sudden, Boston has room to work. All of a sudden, driving lanes appear out of nowhere. Clark's mere presence changes how defenses have to play, and Boston takes full advantage of all the opportunities that create.
All the players play well, but France are just a little bit better in the World Cup. I'm not going to hate watch Team USA, but I do hope that the other teams they're playing are just better. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, if you are actually supporting Team USA, you would hope the two of them play together, because the two of Paige and Caitlin play together, because that's what's going to help them win. And is Caitlin going to be the best player at this camp? If Caitlin's the best player at this camp, there's something seriously wrong with the level of women's basketball. Like, if a player who has basically been injured for a year shows up and is the best player at their first training camp, because let's be real, you're not going to, if a player is, it takes players weeks, if not months.
What impressed people even more than the scoring was watching how the entire pace changed whenever Clark took charge. Every time she pulled down a rebound, the speed immediately shifted. She never hesitated or tried to slow things down. She exploded up the court, flipping defense into offense before opponents could even start thinking about getting organized. Boston sprinted the floor hard, knowing her hustle was going to pay off. And again, Clark rewarded her with easy looks and perfectly timed opportunities. That sense of urgency spread like wildfire. Pretty soon, everyone was following their example. Teammates started running harder in transition, making sharper cuts, and filling space with real purpose because they knew Clark would spot them. Her playmaking didn't just help Boston either. It made the entire group better. There was this one play that really caught the coaching staff's attention when Clark found Jackie Young on a razor-sharp cut to the basket. The pass reached Young in perfect stride, letting her finish smoothly without any awkward adjustments. That's the kind of read that separates good point guards from truly special ones. The Clark and Young backcourt looked completely natural too, suggesting a partnership that could lead Team USA for the next several years. Like one expert said, Jackie Young can handle almost anything on the basketball court, and playing alongside Clark just makes all her strengths even more obvious. Their games fit together seamlessly. The connection between Clark and Boston was impossible to ignore. They played with constant smiles, pure enjoyment and total confidence, and that confidence infected everyone in that building. Teammates started moving with more purpose and better spacing, knowing those pinpoint passes were definitely coming. Sue Bird and the coaching staff observed closely as these relationships developed right in front of them. While other players were still battling for positions, one thing became absolutely clear. Clark was pulling away from everyone else, and the starting point guard conversation was basically over.
Most of us want adversity to go really quickly, like, okay, it'll be tough for a half a day, and then we're done. And this has been tough for longer for us. Good. Because this is what life is about. Like, you don't get to control the length of your adversity. All you get to do is control your attitude and your focus, and just work like heck to try and change it.
Going into camp, the whole situation seemed pretty straightforward and completely predictable. Tons of elite talent, not enough roster spots, and an absolutely brutal fight for places on the 2026 World Cup squad. Coaches were preparing for some really tough choices. Players understood that nothing was promised. The tension was real and everyone felt it. Angel Reese perfectly described that mentality when she discussed how much this opportunity meant, stressing that nobody was there by chance. Every single player had been specifically chosen to bring something unique, and everyone knew that a few bad practices could end their dreams. Caitlin Clark felt that pressure as much as anyone. She openly admitted that everyone in that gym wanted the exact same thing, and that every single practice session mattered. But by the second day, what should have been an incredibly close competition started looking pretty one-sided. People covering the camp had trouble finding the right words. Finally landing on one basic description: Clark was absolutely on fire. From the very first drills, her confidence was undeniable. Her three-point shooting was automatic, even from way beyond the arc with defenders flying at her. Every shot she attempted looked calculated, controlled, and completely calm. What really set Clark apart, though, wasn't just making shots. It was her complete control of the game. Her vision created scoring opportunities that other players couldn't even see coming. She delivered passes through heavy traffic, found cutters in perfect stride, and made instant decisions that always led to the best possible result. Every single possession told the same exact story. She knew precisely when to attack, when to pull back, when to shoot, and when to get a teammate involved. No forcing anything, no wasted energy, no sense of panic at all. While most players were focused on individual moments to make their mark, Clark did the complete opposite. She made everyone around her significantly better. Good movement got rewarded immediately. Smart screens turned into easy buckets. Teammates realized quickly that if they played the right way, Clark was going to find them. That team-first approach really stood out in an environment where personal survival usually comes first. Her leadership just emerged naturally. She talked constantly, pointing out defensive schemes, organizing the offense, and controlling the tempo. Younger players were drawn to her presence and basketball intelligence. You could watch it happen in real time, the way they trusted her choices, followed her example, and matched her intensity. Sue Bird was paying close attention, obviously when Bird said Clark looked great, that carried real significance. She mentioned that Clark's timing was back, despite being away from competitive basketball for months. And when Bird talks, the entire coaching staff pays attention. The reactions from the sidelines said everything. Coaches smiled when Clark made smart plays. They nodded at her composure and decision-making. Their expressions showed certainty, not doubt. They weren't watching a competition anymore. They were watching someone take complete control. Clark summarized it simply herself, saying it felt amazing to finally be completely healthy. Her performance supported every single word. That showing naturally changed all the conversations about what comes. Paige Bueckers wasn't even at camp, still dealing with her own injury situation. And Clark's performance answered questions that hadn't even been asked yet. After 5 months on the sideline, she showed up and reminded everyone that talent has level. The projected starting 5 coming out of camp showed that new reality. Clark running the offense, Jackie Young in the backcourt with her, Kelsey Cooper on the perimeter, Dariuka Hamby up front, and Aaliyah Boston controlling the paint. It's a lineup designed entirely around Clark's ability to make everyone else better. For Angel Reese, things became more challenging. Analysts started questioning how she fits, suggesting her contributions would come through rebounding and hustle rather than featured scoring. Compared to Clark's up-tempo, pass-first approach, Reese's style seemed more difficult to incorporate. You could see frustration building as practices continued, while Clark's partnerships with players like Boston and Cameron Brink only got stronger. By camp's end, the message couldn't have been clearer. Clark hadn't just earned her spot on the roster, she had established herself as the unquestioned leader. Coach Kara Lawson said it best when she noted that Clark looked excellent on both ends and hadn't lost any of her time. Caitlin Clark came back after 5 months away and showed everyone exactly why she represents the future of USA basketball and why she's the one calling the shots moving forward.